Real Madrid were the team that wanted this much more. They wanted the win. They wanted to go to the Copa del Rey final. But Xavi and the rest of the Barcelona squad did not want that. And what am I referring to? Obviously, if you came to this video, that means you know exactly what happened. Real Madrid are on their way to the Copa del Rey final against Osasuna, while Barcelona has to deal with just playing La Liga games for the rest of the year. And this is going to be the first time I talk about a loss, so let's get into this video. Real Madrid beat Barcelona 4-0 at the Camp Nou, something that we have gone used to doing to Real Madrid. In the past, we actually just beat them last year 4-0 at the Bernabeu, but they came here. Now, I know people are going to come in, oh, but we're already going to win La Liga. We beat Real Madrid 3 times. Well, that's not good enough. Barcelona mentality shouldn't just be, well, we beat them already, so, this loss doesn't mean anything. And every trophy should mean something. Yes, the Copa del Rey is usually the trophy we care about the less. It's less important than La Liga, than the Champions League, but it's still a trophy, and every trophy matters. In this club, I've never seen such a lower mentality of a fan base than we've had in the last couple of years. Ever since, I don't know, the Valverde era, it just felt like we kind of accept lesser and lesser. And Xavi today not only was the worst performance under Xavi, it is the worst Barcelona Clásico we've ever had, at least in my time as being a fan. And I've been a fan since 2008, since I was 6 years old. And I've never felt more humiliated by Real Madrid than today, because Vinicius and Benzema basically ran circles around us. And I know everyone's going to complain, oh, but there was this penalty that we should have gone called. Look, that would have mattered if we had lost the game 2-0. But that's not what happened. We lost 4-0, completely dominated. We had no passion in that second half. And I'm sorry, but this is right now further proof that players like Eric Garcia, Marcos Alonso, Sergio Roberto, Ferran Torres, they all have to go. We have so many deadweight players. The fact that Sergio Roberto is a captain at this club, and the fact that he's been here for over 10 years, this is the worst long-term player we've ever had in Barcelona's history. I don't get it. Said he's done nothing. Even against Elche, did nothing. In every game I've ever seen him play ever since 2018, it's just been nothing amongst nothing. And that's what frustrates me about Barcelona Football Club. Why do we still have these players that provide us nothing? Yes, Lewandowski's great. Gavi is the only player that I watched today and thought, you know what? This guy gets some redemption, because in that first half, you could tell he had so much fight, so much passion. But for the rest of the team, where was everyone? I mean, Araujo, he was decent, but even then, this whole Araujo estás Vinicius won't. Now that no longer is a conversation, because Vinicius ran circles around Araujo. Benzema should have had 5 goals in this game. 5. One of them, he actually missed an open shot. And it annoys me, because we could have at least came out with this game with a good result. Yeah, Real Madrid are the far better team in the last couple of years. They have. It's no doubt about that. But why are we flexing these 3 wins if we couldn't even do it the 4th time around? And that's what frustrates me. Now, this is always going to be a difficult game. No matter how good or how bad each team is, it's always a tough game. But this game felt like the epitome of everything that I feel is wrong under Xavi. I think Xavi's an amazing coach. I think Xavi, long-term wise, is a good option. But there's still some flaws that are still missing. We've seen against... I hate how everyone's talking about Barcelona has the best defense in the world. We've only conceded, I think, 3 goals in La Liga all season. Or not 3 goals, but like 6 goals. That doesn't matter. Against Bayern Munich, we lost 2-0 and then 3-0. Against Manchester United at the Old Trafford, we lost 2-1. Against Inter Milan, we couldn't beat them at all. We lost the first game over there, and then we drew the game at the Camp Nou. Against Real Madrid, we already lost to them 3-1 earlier in the season. Now we lost to them 4-0. Every important game we've had under Xavi this year, except for the Supercopa final and the few other Clásicos I just brought up, where is the club? Where is that perfect defense? You're telling me losing 3-0 at the Camp Nou to Bayern Munich is perfect defense? No. Now, yes, there's some excuses. We didn't have Frenkie de Jong. We didn't have Pedri. We didn't have a lot of players at our disposal. But that doesn't mean anything. At Football Club Barcelona, we can't make excuses. If our bench isn't good enough to fill in the spots for our starters, then why do we have them? Somebody answer to me why Sergi Roberto is still at the club when he provides nothing. He's not as good as he used to. There was a time where, as a right back, he was amazing, but besides then, you know, why is he here? Why is he a captain? You tell me this is the guy that's going to lead players like Ansu or Gavi or Balde? And by the way, Balde was also a great player. I got to give him props. He did well this game. What annoys me is we went into this game with a huge advantage. We were already 1-0 up, having played the previous game at the Bernabeu. We had the entire crowd. It was a packed crowd filled with loud cheers and boos all the time. We had a perfect audience with the perfect venue. And instead of fighting, we gave up after that first goal. It just felt like every player gave up the minute Vinicius scored that first goal. It frustrates me. Because in important games, it feels like this team isn't showing up. And I'm going to say that because our bench is not good enough. How the heck do we have Eric Garcia and Alonso as defense against Benzema and Vinicius? Somebody explain that to me. Why are we constantly having to put Araujo on the right side? Why can't we just get a proper right back? We should have Conde and Araujo in the middle and get ourselves a right back this summer. It doesn't matter if we get... And by the way, that attack too, Rafinha was awful. Rafinha's always mad that he's not getting enough time. Well, guess what? This is why you aren't getting enough time. Because when it matters most, you're not showing up. Dembele this season has been far better. What excuse do you have? You finally have a decent amount of time to make your mark, and you're not doing much. Sure, you're doing great against clubs like Elche, but besides that, when else are you going to show up? And Ferran Torres. Ferran had this one moment where he had the ball and he could have at least shot it. He could have passed it, something. But instead, he ran off to the side and did nothing. He just created this weird chance when you could have, in that moment, shot it or passed it in that moment. Why is Ferran... No one wants to admit this, but Ferran Torres is our current Coutinho. A player that's mid, but because we paid so much for him, we have to kind of pretend like he's good. He's not. We got to get rid of him. Especially now that we're going to get Messi. I'm fine with Rafinha saying. Rafinha has shown decent times. But besides that, why do we still have these players? Are we obligated to keep them? Are we obligated to play them? No. And I think Xavi needs to take some blame for this. If your players aren't doing well, why do we keep playing them? Why can't Pablo Torre get a chance? Why is Pablo Torre not playing when we have Sergi Roberto in the midfield? We might as well have kept Riqui Puig. Sure, he's not good enough, but I guarantee you he probably would have given much more attitude than Sergi Roberto did. In fact, Gavi deserves that captain's armband more than Sergi Roberto. Busquets, I think, did decent. He did pretty good. Honestly, I don't have any complaints for his game. But where was the rest of the team? Where was the rest of the team? Balde, the only players that I can genuinely look at and think, okay, you guys are good enough. You guys you guys at least can hold your heads up high at the end of this game. Balde, Gavi, maybe Kessie, although he gave away that dumb penalty. Busquets and Araujo. Conde, where was he? Ter Stegen, I think, did decent. Honestly, most of it was his defense was horrible. Although that first goal was abysmal from him. But you can't tell me Barcelona is at the right spot when we're still losing these silly games. A game where we had a huge advantage. Again, I know we had a lot of players injured. I know Barcelona's dealing with a lot of stuff right now. And I know that's affected the players, the whole corruption scandal and everything. But you got to show some... Because I'm not just... The thing is, when it comes to Barcelona, I'm not saying win every game. I'm not saying win every trophy. What I'm saying is give me a team of 11 players that every time they're on the pitch, they may lose 1-0, 2-0. But at least they're going to go out fighting. At least you can see that warrior mentality. And there's no player that's a better example than Gavi today. We lost 4-0, and Gavi still went out and played his heart out. That first half, we were pretty good. We were doing well. But the minute Vinicius scored... boom, we're done. Why? Why is this happening? And overall, I don't get why do we have these certain players. We're going to win La Liga. That's a better trophy than the Copa del Rey. But this still leaves a sour taste. Because it may feel like nothing now, but it's going to hurt more in the future. Remember this season, we started off thinking, well, we're going to do well in the Champions League. Well, guess what? We went back to the Europa League. And even when we went back to the Europa League, we lost to Manchester United. So is this team really in a good position? Are we really in that good spot? We're not. We're really not. And until people start accepting that, Barcelona's not going to improve. Xavi has done a lot to improve this club, but it's still not good enough. It's still not good enough. And honestly, we need Messi. In this type of game, I genuinely think Messi would have, because Busquets, I think, is a good captain, but he's not a Messi captain. Messi would have came in this game and would have shown more passion, more fight. This team didn't feel that way. This team didn't feel like that previous Barcelona teams that I've loved, you know? And that's what frustrates me so much about today's game. It wasn't that we lost 4-0. It's that we lost and we didn't show much fight. In that second half, when Real Madrid were 4-0 up, it felt like at any moment Real were just going to score fifth. It just felt like VINICUS, BENZEMA, Rodrigo, Modric. It just felt like they were just calling me like, hey, we already got this in the bag. It doesn't matter. And that's what annoys me so much. And if this summer we don't see a major amount of, or not major, but a decent amount of players leave and better players change for them, then this club's going nowhere. This club's going nowhere. Also, why don't we have a backup striker? Get Victor Roque. If we don't get him, or at least Aubameyang at the least, then we're just going to be depending on Lewandowski. And I'm sorry, Lewandowski today didn't have a good game. He where was he? What did he do? Nothing. And this is a great player. And he's only had a couple of bad games, so maybe I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But immediately, a great team would be able to see that flaw in that player and be able to sub him out and get a player that may not be better, but at least will give you more fight and more desire. But this Barcelona team doesn't even have a backup striker. We have Ansu, but he's not a striker. He's a winger. So why do we have Lewandowski just being the sole striker? That is the big question I asked at the beginning of summer, and I've not had it answered yet. So until then, we're going to keep losing these games, these important games. It doesn't matter if we beat Real Sociedad. It doesn't matter if we beat Athletic Bilbao or Elche. It doesn't matter if we beat these clubs. What matters is what we do against the bigger clubs. That's the difference between Barcelona and Madrid. Madrid has not had a good season. They're 12 points behind us in La Liga. They've struggled heavily. They're obviously not winning La Liga. But it doesn't matter. They may have lost to Mallorca earlier in the season, but they're beating us at the Camp Nou. They're beating clubs like Liverpool. They're beating those clubs because they know to show up when it's important. There's a reason why Real Madrid have won 4 Champions League in the last however many years, while we've just sat back and kind of just let them do that. Because they show up in the big games. It doesn't matter if they have Ronaldo. It doesn't matter if they have Casemiro or Varane. It doesn't matter if Zidane's the coach. It doesn't matter. They show up when it's needed. Barcelona in the last 10 years, ever since 2015, it's just been, we'll do really well against these mid teams, but we're going to do really bad against these big teams. And that's the easy way to answer that, right? And until then, we still have a lot to do. Not saying this is the end. Obviously, I still trust in Xavi, but you got to be able to prove why you have my trust. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Y'all let me know in the comments what you thought about this result, and I'll see y'all in the next one.